and Logan Marshall Green, because they look alike and they could play brothers.
Yeah.
And then you got Michael Pena and, I don't know, Lakeith Stanfield from...
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. Would those four be good together? Would they make... And then Dennis Leary, just bring him back?
Just bring him back.
I'd love that. So you could have, let's see. All right. Anne Hathaway, Isaac Gonzalez. This could really work. What Gugu Mbatha-Raw and Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, that'd be an excellent choice. Yeah.
That'd be a good movie. And they're being chased by Dennis Leary?
Are they being chased by Dennis Leary, or do we have to replace the... I don't think we need to replace the gang with females.
It could be more of a blended gang, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Diverse gang. I mean, you could just add, let's see. You could do Dennis Leary, Colin Farrell, Jesse Buckley, and Donald Gleason as an all-Irish gang.
Okay.
What do you think?
Maybe went a little bit too heavy on the Irish.
And horrible accents, too. Make it a real Irish gang. Set it in Boston.
Actually, yeah. Set it in Boston, or better yet, set it in wherever the Irish gangs live. Dublin?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So they're on vacation, and they end up in a rough area of Belfast, which is a beautiful city, and I love it, by the way. I'm not ragging on it. And then they just play up the worst Irish stereotypes possible. What do you think?
I feel like the Irish are the only people we can still parody, so.
Yeah. That would be, imagine Donald Gleason with like a few gold teeth running around acting tough.
Suppose you found yourself at the wrong side of the rainbow.
Oh, man. Warwick Davis is in there. Just make another Leprechaun movie.
Just make another Leprechaun in the Hood movie.
Yeah.
It could definitely work out.
Oh, man. Hey, so how about this? Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will talk more Judgment Night. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. You wanted to talk about the score, didn't you, Bryce?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Are we praising Hopkins here, or are we we're giving him a little bit of elbows, a little bit? I don't know.
Yeah, for the Silvestri score?
Well, even for the movie.
I think so. I think he took a chance. And
I think the movie overall is a good movie. I'm at IMDb page open now, it's 6.6, and it's like, yeah, that's about right.
And that's above average, I think.
And that's way above average. It's good.
I guess my one complaint about this movie is it does linger a bit. I think this could have been a little more muscular. This could have been 90 minutes.
Yeah, things could have been, I don't really want to point them out, but some things probably could have done a little bit curtailed or done a little bit better. But overall, good flick. There is one thing about the, I guess he hired Silvestri. Silvestri? I don't know how to say this name.
Yeah, that's right.
He hired him, and they had worked together on he worked with a few people in Predator 2 on this movie. And
he works with a cinematographer on almost everything he does.
The original score that Silvestri had was more like John Carpenter-esque.
Oh, like no.
More like... like probably a little bit more horror, kind of sci-fi type of dystopian type of sounding. And I would have liked to hear that.
I would definitely change the movie. It would add...
Yeah, the music in the movie is very... Yeah, it does not deserve the intensity of Die Hard or Predator 2.
No. Not at all. Yeah. No, yeah, maybe... So you have all this hardcore... You have them hiding in a bunker for 30 minutes, and then you have this really threatening score.
Yeah, the moments of action in this movie are a 10-second blast at best, and it does not deserve the score that you hear.
And you know what? You make a good point, because I guess the violence in this movie feels a little bit more real, except for Emilio's and Dennis Leary's Family Guy fight at the end that takes forever. But, I mean, I like it. You get a guy getting shot, and then you have another guy just getting shot, standing there. And then you have a fight scene in the sewers where one guy completely freezes up, and Emilio has to jump into action, and then that guy gets shot just standing there. It seems more real?
Yeah, I get that.
No, there's no jumping in the air with two Uzis.
Definitely not. And there's no jumping off of buildings with fire hoses or.
Mm-hmm. And Dennis Leary falls a short distance and actually dies. Right?
Just a very short distance. It's about 10 feet.
I mean, he landed on his head. So, yeah, it's interesting. He's like, I'm going to take you with me at the end. And Emilio says no. Yeah, I guess that. But I'm telling you, it seems more like there's a lot more execution style. There's a lot more thinking. There's a lot more overanalyzing. I don't know. I wrote in my notes that feels like a turtle in the hare type movie where these guys, the main guys, just keep running and then they stop and then the villains catch up to them and then they run and then they stop and the villains catch up to them and then they run and then they stop and the villains catch up to them. It's very much so turtle in the hare, tortoise in the hare, turtle in the hare. You know what I mean? Did you get that vibe?
I did. Also, it's like the tortoise in the hare, and then like the hare stops and like I got to take a stand against this tortoise, and then fail completely each time.
I got to slow this turtle down.
Yeah.
I guess if they just would have, and once again, I hate judging it because I've never been in this situation, but I guess if they just kept running or jogging or walking and not stopping, these guys never would have caught up to them.
Well, I mean, in the stock car or the railroad car, he does lose his wallet. So there is that scene where he's calling out, I know where you live.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Francis.
Yeah, Francis.
So they have to kill him then.
Well, pretty much. I mean, if someone knows where you live, you have to kill them.
Yeah, especially Dennis Leary's character.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go back to Everlast? I like how he's just down to roll. You have the one henchman who complains, then you have the right-hand man that's always keeping that guy in check. But he's also not really into it, because I don't think these four guys would have said anything. They're not, yeah, it was four Irish guys in a car. Like, what do they look like? I don't know, Dennis Leary. I don't think they would have narked on these, not narked, that's the wrong word, or said, like, Dennis Leary and his crew could have just driven out of there, don't you think?
I believe so. But I don't. Again, we aren't in these situations.
Yeah, and we're making judgments about Judgement Night.
The cops were running away from. It's bugging me. We are doing this podcast on the actual Judgment Night.
Yeah, we are. That's wild. Okay, did you get a laugh about Jeremy Piven when those women actually do a really brave thing? They have a great fish tank, by the way. And they let them into their homes. And Piven is just going, why aren't the cops here? The cops, what's going on? And it didn't feel fake to me because I think Piven is that entitled that he didn't stop to think, I am in this area. We didn't see anybody. I thought it was a good moment. Like that was a good character beat.
They saw the cops and the cops were running from them.
Yeah.
So all they ever see of the cops is like them speeding through their neighborhoods, probably on the way to some kind of crime or something, you know?
Yeah, and they aren't. Yeah, and then they never come back. I guess. So they come by once, but I thought that was neat. And also, I'd like to see him where Dennis Leary drowns the guy. Everlast is just like, all right, man, I think he's dead. And then Leary goes, oh, the noise stopped. That guy was a whiner, right? And he was shot.
He was a whiner. He was probably the second most unlikable character in the whole movie.
If you're you're Dennis Leary and you have that whiny henchman and you're already a murderer, it makes sense he took him out. That guy was kind of, and then that one dude had died, so he was just gonna be a brat. Who hired this fourth guy?
Internet was around then. Maybe you got it on Monster. I don't know. First days of the internet. AOL jobs.
It seemed like Peter Green, right? That was maybe his cousin or his cousin's daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah, something like that.
And he just has to keep him in check the whole time. Oh man.
Hey, you keep quiet.
I'll tell your aunt, who's also a gangster in Dublin. Just a long line of this. What show have I been watching lately? Oh, never mind. But yeah, so we've talked about the soundtrack. We've covered the score that was more Carpenter heavy. I'd love to hear that. Talked about the different people. Do you want to do a 1993 action movie draft?
I just want to mention about the soundtrack really quick.
Yeah. Or whatever you want to talk about.
There is like for the listeners, there is a great. This was also the 25th anniversary, and I think it's the article that you're referencing is there is a great oral history. If you just Google oral history Judgment Night, there's a good article that talks to almost all the people involved and the producer of the soundtrack. It was weird. I loved that album because I loved like rock and rap when I was 13 years old. I always thought that the majority of these bands, they were in separate rooms when they recorded these tracks, but most of them were together. It didn't make any sense. I was like, wait a minute. Helmet and House of Pain were in the same room?
Wow.
Because some of them don't sound like it. They're kind of like two separate songs, or you think, oh, they sent the track over and then, but no, Sir Mix-a-Lot and Mudhoney got together and made a song.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during these recording sessions.
Also a great Del the Funky Homo Sapien and Jay Mascis of Dinosaur Jr. and Mike D and Mike Watts on the Arsenio Hall show play the track from this album. It's really good.
Oh, you can find that on YouTube? I think I like the De La Soul song the most. Do you have a...
De La Soul song is the best song on the soundtrack.
Okay, good. That's your favorite as well?
Yeah. It's also the movie's favorite. They play it like 3 times in the movie. There's 12 songs on the soundtrack, and they play 3 of them in the movie.
Yeah, that's kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that the soundtrack even... Well, no, it's not wild that the soundtrack took off. I mean, you took a who's who of people, and then you did have Run DMC kind of kicking that door open, I guess, with Aerosmith. And then this kind of took it to another level, because Aerosmith was definitely rock, but they brought in Slayer for this.
Yeah.
Like, they brought in metal.
So they brought in metal, but it's not... It's kind of like rap versus grunge for the most part. It's Sonic Youth and Helmet, Mudhoney and Dinosaur, and Pearl Jam's even on the soundtrack, but Eddie Vedder wouldn't sing on the track.
Yeah, Sonic Youth was it's an interesting song. Someone described their music as sludgy, and that made me laugh.
Sonic Youth's music is weird. Some of the songs are skippable.
Not the De La Soul one, though.
Not the De La Soul one.
I love the names on. So Amanda Shear Demi, she was a music supervisor, but she also she did Garden State, which was a massive soundtrack at the time. Yeah. So this lady's kind of the soundtrack whisperer. And then Happy Walters, that guy did There's Something About Mary, Scream 2, American Pie. I mean, I love the soundtrack from American Pie. You got Blink in there.
Those are all movies where if you were in a bar or something and the song came on, be like, oh man, I love the movie American Pie, or I love Mean Girls, and you know, when the Pixies play now, everyone just says, I love Fight Club.
Yeah. With my feet out there on the ground. And then Stuck in the Middle with You. Oh, Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, they worked on some huge films. Big Lebowski, that had some amazing musical numbers.
And for sure.
It's just, there's a lot of talent. And also the director, I guess I keep going back to this, but I mean, Stephen Hopkins is still working. I mean, he directed Reaping, Lost in Space, Predator 2, he did Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Blown Away, but now lately he's been doing a ton of episodes of 24.
He's been doing more TV and stuff, right?
Yeah, but big episodes. Like he shot most of House of Lies with Don Cheadle. He took his cinematographer Peter Levy with him on that. So, yeah, I mean, this is a crew that these guys knew what they were doing. It's well lit. It's different. I think there's enough, like the soundtrack still hits. I mean, I guess people watching it now. Okay, I have a question. So you go to watch this movie, Bryce, and you're like a super masculine bro. Would you enjoy this movie?
So like if I was like Marky Mark on an airplane, would I enjoy watching this movie?
Yeah, because would you? Or would you just think, I wouldn't do that? Like, what do you think that movie does too much of that to make people who have never been in a gunfight or chased by an Irish gang led by Donald Gleason? Would this appeal to that kind of audience? And that was the main audience, I would say. Yeah,
that's true. I bet you could find an audience for this movie these days, because people like that kind of mouse hunt type of situation more than I think they would have back in 1993. But I don't know. Would I be like, bro,